Good morning. I'm doing a video on dealing with animals and going over animals because animals are very important because it says, let's see if I can do it this way. Proverbs 12, whoever is righteous has regard for the life of his beast, but the mercy of the wicked is cruel. And then we all know the Matthew 6:26. It says, look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more important than them? So God created the great sea creatures, every living thing that moves, and which waters swarm according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And he also goes on to say that we have dominion over them. Because right here it says that over every living thing that moves on the earth. So man is so everything was put under man. And this is why it says Job 12, but ask the beasts and they will teach you, and the birds of the heavens and they will tell you, or the bushes of all the earth, and they will teach you, and the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among of these do not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In the hands, the life of every living thing, in the breath of all mankind. So everything that is around us teaches us to look up and to look up to the one that created us. And we are to take dominion and care of it. And I don't know if you can see, but outside I have a little bird feeder. Um, you, the only thing, because I'm a wildlife biologist by trade, and the only thing that you're supposed to feed is birds. You are not supposed to feed other critters, because what happens is you get critters dependent on you, and then they trash your neighborhood and eat the things that you don't want them to eat. I mean, it's just like if you find a good restaurant, you're going to keep coming back to it day in and day out. So these animals will come back for food, and then they'll eat your garden and eat everything else and be a nuisance. So that's not a good thing. God does have his critters, and they will testify against us. Just like everything that we do on this earth, we have to be judged for it. And beasts are actually one of the punishments of this world. And in Revelation, I believe it says that the beasts will be used as punishment. And if you think about it, a lot of people don't think that mosquitoes and locusts and other things are his punishment. There's actually the locust plague. There's two different locusts that have never come out since like the late 1800s, 1880s, and they're coming out in the U.S. Also, mosquitoes. What things do they have in them? They have malaria and dengue fever and encephalitis and a whole lot of other things that kill people. They're actually the most dangerous critter out there. However, what I find kind of comical is when I've seen it recently where posts of, oh, well, these are dangerous critters, and they've killed all of 20 people in the last 25 years. It's like, okay, well, car accidents kill upwards of hundreds of thousands of people, and you're saying that this dangerous animal has hurt people. You realize cows have killed hundreds of people every year, and then you're comparing that to a panther or something else that has killed 25 people in the last 50 years. So yes, you have to respect them, but you also yeah, they're around. So how do you deal with critters? So you walk around them is the best thing to do. So like if you have a snake in the middle of the road, yes, it may freak you out, but if you go around it, it will leave you alone. Spiders like nooks and crannies. So like I have these plants here, and they would be like down in this pan. They like dark crevices. Um, and we have two spiders in the U.S. One's the black widow, and the other one's the brown recluse, and they like dark spots. Um, you won't find them out unless at nighttime. But they like to hide, and but they will put you in the hospital and they potentially could kill you. But if you walk around critters, they'll ignore you. Um, every animal outside will go around you. So I've written a list of the things in the day to be wary of. So spiders are, they potentially, if you shake out your boots, they could potentially be in your boots. Snakes are one of probably your biggest threats during the day. They but they slither off. If you give them room, they'll go the other way. Imagine a giant coming up to you, and what would you do? I mean, that's pretty much what you got to do. And they don't want to strike at us. They want us to go the other way. Um, and the thing with snakes is a lot of people don't realize they do what's called a dry bite. So they can bite you and withhold their venom. But out west, we only have one snake that potentially could hurt you really badly. We have a rattlesnake out here, and he is the only one that you would have to worry about out here. All the other snakes are harmless. Yes, they can bite you, but um, I've seen like bull snakes, I've seen garter snakes out here, but and very rarely have I come across. I don't know if I've ever come across a rattler out. Well, no, I take that back. I was doing a job and there was one under a box, so yes, they're out here. Your biggest threat here, but he only is at high elevation and wetlands, is the moose. He is unpredictable. They are big. They're over 1,000 pounds, and basically, what you have to do in order to deal with a moose is you have to zigzag. So, like if the moose is here and you're here, you would have to zigzag and basically have something between you and him. If you're out in an open field and you come across a moose, he's gonna overrun you pretty quickly. It is not something you want to be caught off guard with. If you see a moose coming into the field, you find something to get between you and him. But he is definitely a big threat up in higher elevations. They like to be higher up. They're definitely around Grand Mesa in other places, but they are generally above like 7,000, 8,000 feet. Another guy that is here. So I have actually a little, if I can turn it on real fast. Sorry. This is what happens when. Okay, so this is the elk. This is something you also do not go near. What I've noticed though is there's a lot of people that are stupidly going towards them. And it's like, oh, well, I need to get a selfie. Um, these guys are very quick. They can run 25, 30 miles an hour. So if you think that you can get over there, well, they look harmless. But when you're gouged by these big old racks, yeah, you're dead. And they hurt a lot of people. So if you try to get within 15 feet of them, they're going to charge after you. They do bugling and mating in the in the fall, and that's when they're rutting, and it's just like a big guy that is looking to mate with everything. So they, yeah, not to be messed with. Bison aren't really here. They're on ranches and that type of thing, but that's not a guy that you would find out in the wild. I don't know why he's. This guy is definitely here. It's a bighorn sheep. I see them along I-65 going up to Grand Mesa almost daily. Um, they're not really a threat. They have these big old horns. They might butt you with their horn, but most of the time you'll hear or see them coming. They're not really a threat. This guy is definitely a daytime threat. This is your mountain lion. He's like a cat. Well, not is like a cat. He is a cat, and he likes to sit and wait and pounce on whatever comes his way. He has only taken out people. I think it's like 25 attacks have happened, and over like 30 to 40 years. So he's not a guy that would threaten you outdoors. He is, but generally what they do is they like to single out people. So if you're in a group, you're pretty much okay. If you ever come across one, what you do is you stand your ground and throw rocks at him and make him go away. The one time that I did come across one, we did the exact opposite of what we should have, and we were running the opposite way, but we were in a big group. So we stupidly did the wrong thing. And I was listening to someone else that didn't know what he was doing. Um, but these guys are very big and very muscular. They're out during the daytime as well as nighttime. They can take a full grown deer into the treetops and take off. They like deer, obviously, and I think they go after elk. They go after bunny rabbits. Pretty much, they're a carnivore and meat eater. This is another guy who's out there. They are opportunistic when it comes to food. 70 to 80% of their diet is plant and vegetation matter. During the winter, they're hibernating. They can still be awakened and they're still moving around in their den, so they're not completely asleep. Sometimes they are, but they don't come out during the winter time normally. They're coming out probably now, which is March. But if you ever come across one, you stand your ground. You fight back. There have been attacks on people, but it's usually when people have smellables in their tent. What you do is you don't have anything that smells inside of your tent, because that will attract the bear into your tent. They're just looking for food, and if they smell something that smells, hey, this smells good, they're going to take down your tent. I went to a Philmont Scout Ranch, and they had issues with their tents because they had toilet paper or they spilled food on themselves and entered the tent, and then the bear went after the tent because he thought he smelled something to eat. So that's a guy that you have to. Birds are not really a problem. Hawks and eagles will go after small dogs like your Chihuahua and other things. So if you have a small dog, be very advised that they will fly and take off with your beloved little one. Beavers are not to a human. The only problem that they cause are they dam up. They can dam up lakes and other bodies of water, but they are harmless. They eat wood, and that's all they do. Their big nuisance is they get in control structures and can take down dams and that type of thing. So they're not really. We do have wild horses out here. They're harmless. There's your moose, and he's the guy that you don't want to mess with. But they like water. They're not going to be away from water. There's your elk again. I'm just going through. I think that's a deer. So yeah, that's another guy that's around here. So that's your mule deer. And believe it or not, they are actually another person that can kick the crap out of you. What they do is they rear up on their hind legs and beat the poop out of you with their front legs, and can also gore you with their antlers on their head. That's how they defend themselves. So, other threats during the daytime are rabid animals. So a rabid animal is something that's foaming at the mouth. They're not thinking right because there is a virus that's, well, how do I call it? Yeah, you can call it a virus. And it's basically attacking their mind and making them act and do things that they shouldn't, and it will kill them pretty quickly. Within a week or two, they'll be dead. Another thing that you have to be aware of is a hurt ankle. Like if you're out in the woods and you're going along, hurt ankles can be very bad. Like if you're going on rocks and whatever, you can twist and hurt an ankle very badly. So that's something that you got to watch out for. Dehydration is something else that you need to watch out for during the day. You need you need to make sure that you have water on you at all times. You need to figure out some way of getting water, obtaining water, and filtering water in order to live. Slick spots, if it's just rained. I was on a trail last weekend, and just be aware that mud turns into very slick during the after it rains. So that's another thing, and that will cause issues with you trying to go along the trail. Flash floods is something else you got to be aware of. If you're in a slot canyon or in a canyon or in a creek bed and you have water coming up from higher up, it's going to travel downstream, and it's will make a area go from dry to very wet very quickly. So flash floods is something else that you need to watch and be aware of. Bugs is something people don't take into consideration when they're outdoors. You have mosquitoes, like I've said, and you have other bugs like gnats and other things that can be around that can be a royal pain in the butt. Ticks are out here. So if you see a tick, then you just pull it off. You have about 12 to 24 hours to get that bug off. They do carry Rocky Mountain spotted fever and I think it's leptospirosis or something. No, ichthyosis. But yes, there are a couple of tick diseases, and they can definitely put you in the hospital. We do not have Lyme's disease out here. That is a specific tick called the Lone Star tick. Plants is something else that you got to be aware of during the day. We have poison ivy that are, if you touch them, they can be bad. Poison ivy likes wet spots. Like up at Vega Lake, they were around the lake. So you just look for leaves of 3, and it looks kind of like a mitten, kind of like that with my hand. But you have 1, and then you'll have 2, and then you'll have a 3rd one in the middle. And so you just leave it alone. It's actually the liquid on top of it that will cause the itch. What's it called? Urushiol is it's a liquid that is on the plant that will cause the itch. If you're out in the sun, sunburn is something that you need to be aware of. And overheating. If you're exerting yourself and you don't have enough water, you can overheat big time, especially out here in the West. I mean, it can be 90, 100 degrees, and if you're getting red in the face, you need to find shade and make sure that you're taking time to allow your body to come back. During this end times, you will face these guys and these guys. They're hiding right now, but they're coming out in force. This is something that I thought of. We dealt with it up at Vega Lake, but this is something that can kill you. Blue-green algae, it makes the water turn that color. That color is the blue-green, and it's very evident on the top of the water. And what I have seen is it is in agricultural areas. It's usually caused by agricultural runoff. I have not seen it where agriculture has not been. This is something else that you got to be aware of when you're outdoors in the anytime. But we can have storms come up. It can look great and nice one moment, and then be dark as night very quickly. So just be aware of the weather. I've been up on many mountains and saw a weather system come up that we didn't know was there, and so that is another thing to be very aware of during the daytime. You don't want to be on a peak and have lightning come across, because there's nothing on a peak, especially out here above 12,000 feet. There are no plants. Well, there are plants, but there are no trees. Another one you've got to be aware of is people. They could be a potential problem, especially if all hell breaks loose. Stuff to be wary at night. So a lot of these guys during the daytime, they will disappear at nighttime. like spiders and snakes. Snakes will try to find a place to cozy up to. If you zip up at night and whatever, snakes won't be a problem. They have been known to go in sleeping bags to find a nice warm spot to cozy up to. They can be under rocks because rocks hold heat at nighttime. So yeah, just be aware of that. Coyote is another thing at night. So now we're switching to night. These are guys that only, well, most of the time come out at nighttime. Coyotes aren't, well, they do come out at daytime sometimes, but most of the time it's going to be dawn, dusk, and nighttime. And most of the time there's just singular, like one or two of them roaming around, but they can be in packs. And they just look like a dog. They're about 40 or 50 pounds, and they look like a dog, and they are not as big. They're leggy, so their legs are big, and they like to eat rabbits and squirrels and small things, but they will gather in groups and go after bigger things as a group. You'll hear them yipping and yowling. And if you hear this at nighttime, just be aware that they're around. They typically do not go after humans. They will go after dogs. There's been a number of reports where a dog goes missing and they see a coyote. Coyotes don't typically go after humans. They will go after dogs. They do, when they pack up, they can go against deer. Another guy at nighttime are fox, who don't attack humans. They are skittish and timid and will go the opposite way of you. They are definitely around most of the time at nighttime. I had one of these outside of my door in Vegas State Park. I lived out there, and it's a very weird yowling noise. So yeah, so foxes are definitely out there. I have not known them to attack a human. It's very, very, very rare. But if they're rabid, they do it. They will be way more aggressive. Another guy that is out during the nighttime are skunks. However, you can usually smell them coming from a mile or two away, and it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Obviously, they'll let you know that they're in the area because of their smell. But these are guys that are typically out at nighttime. So yeah, you avoid these guys at all costs. The biggest one that a lot of people fear is you can't see. So you can look around you and around you. I mean, it's dark, so you're not gonna be able to see well. However, that's why the moon and the stars are there. God provided a way to see at nighttime. However, during this time, the moon and the stars may go disappear. We're in the tribulation period, and so you may not be able to see. And so things are able to sneak up on you a lot easier. The best defense for animals is having a fire and being around it. And if an animal approaches you, if you have a torch or something, you can wave it in their face, and they typically will go the opposite way. If you have a bow and arrow or a gun, you can obviously shoot them. They just released wolves into it's up around Craig in that area, but it's northern Colorado. But they have a tendency to migrate, so they are definitely there. Cold is a problem during the nighttime. You can get cold. Especially if you jump in water, you can get cold a lot better, quicker. Then you have bears at nighttime. Fire is something that I came up with. If you have a storm coming through, fires can rip through an area very fast. If you have an open grass area, fires can go at 60 to 90 miles an hour if they're wind driven. And another thing that you have to worry about are droppings of bats and mice. They won't mess. Mice are not a problem unless they put droppings on in your area because it has hantavirus and that can kill you. All you have to do is inhale the like if you're messing with it and you inhale, or if you get it on your hands and put it in your body, it can mess you up. So those are a few things that you need to be aware of around. And I showed you a few pictures. I didn't have a picture of a coyote. I didn't have the right screen up. But these are the only things that you would have to worry about during this time. So if you're running from place to place, these are things that you need to be aware of. But if you have a bow and arrow, you can also make a bolo. Like what you do is you make a rope. You just make a rope, and then what you do is on the middle part of it, you have like a leather holder kind of thing that like you put holes in it, and it's basically like a cup. And what you can do is you put a rock in it and you sling it around your head, and then you release it. And like David with David and Goliath, that is one way in to get rid of animals. Another one you'll have to look up called an atlatl. It's ATL. Um, and it is basically it's a spear with a throwing handle kind of thing. So they're pretty cool. So I just wanted to give you a heads up with the dangers that you might find out there. But these are just a list of critters and things to be aware of during those times. But yes, you need to be aware of all kinds of first aid type stuff. Just make sure you drink enough, make sure that you're covering up, and then taking breaks. So thank you for joining me. Bye for later.